It was one of the boldest and most sophisticated heists ever pulled off in South Africa. On the night of March 25, 2006, a group of heavily men, dressed in police uniforms and carrying military-grade, stormed a restricted cargo area of Johannesburg's OR Tambo International Airport. In less than 25 minutes, they vanished with over 100 million rand, equivalent to $20 million, in foreign and local currency. No fired. No one was hurt. But the echoes of that night revealed something darker. A vast web of corruption, insider collusion, and a criminal syndicate operating within the very system meant to protect it. OR Tambo International Airport isn't just any airport. It's the beating heart of South Africa's air traffic and the busiest airport on the continent. Cargo planes land here with everything from diamonds to cash and gold. Behind the scenes, billions pass through in sealed containers, some under tight watch, others under blind trust. In 2006, that trust was about to be shattered in 25 silent minutes. At that time, the airport's security was dangerously weak. Surveillance cameras were outdated or didn't cover blind spots. Many employees shared access badges or left restricted doors propped open. Guards rotated often, and some were poorly trained. No one suspected that the very people meant to protect the money might be watching it for other reasons. The cargo sector at the airport was especially vulnerable. Money shipped from foreign banks often sat for hours before it was picked up. Staff in customs and logistics knew exactly what planes carried, and when they landed, police had access, but so did airline workers, cleaners, and contractors. With the right contacts, almost anyone could learn where the cash was. For years, smaller thefts went unnoticed or unreported. A few missing packages, a couple of bribed guards, nothing too loud. But it built a pattern, and that pattern showed one thing. The inside was wide open. This wasn't just an airport. It was a puzzle waiting to be solved by the wrong hands. In late 2005, someone began putting that puzzle together. It started with a whisper. A South African Airways cargo flight was scheduled to land in March 2006 with a huge load of cash from the UK. But someone leaked that information, and it didn't go far before reaching the ears of criminals. That leak was the spark that lit the fuse. By November 2005, the plan was already in motion. People within SAA and ACSA had shared flight times, cargo contents, and security rotations. Some were paid, others threatened, but all played a role. The robbers knew they couldn't hit the cargo later. It had to be taken as it landed. That meant intercepting it between the runway and the storage vault. The gang behind this wasn't new to crime. They were former robbers, ex-military, and men who knew how to move fast and disappear. But they weren't enough on their own. They needed help from the inside. Airport staff who controlled doors, knew security codes, and could stay quiet. They got that help easily. Cleaning crews, baggage handlers, and even some in airport police were part of the circle. Everyone had a job to do, no matter how small. The insiders would ensure certain doors were unlocked, radios left off, and schedules quietly changed. In return, they would get a cut once the job was done. To them, it was just business. One man, a parking controller named Musa, played a key role. He was told to position the target aircraft close to Gate 1, a gate near a restricted exit. With the aircraft parked just a few meters from the secure gate, the robbers could get in and out in minutes. Musa made it happen without raising any alarms. His reward would come later, in cash. The gang also knew appearances mattered. They needed to blend in, not break in. That meant getting real police uniforms, sirens, and blue lights. A fake police van and a white Ford Focus were chosen for the job. Both cars were prepped to look official enough to pass through airport gates without questions. They didn't just throw the plan together on the weekend. Every move was rehearsed down to the second. They practiced the route, timed how long it would take to load the cash, and made sure there were no surprises. The night of the heist was chosen carefully. Staffing would be low, and the schedule quiet. They were ready. The goal wasn't chaos, it was speed and silence. No fire, no panic, just in and out before anyone could respond. And that's exactly what they aimed for. The heist was no longer an idea. It was a scheduled event. By the time March 2006 arrived, everything was in place. The cars were ready, the were loaded, the uniforms were pressed, and the people guarding the money had no idea they'd already been outplayed. It was a calm Tuesday night at OR Tambo International Airport. Flights had landed, workers were finishing their shifts, and security guards stood by their posts. Nothing seemed out of place. But at exactly 7:20 p.m., two vehicles rolled toward a restricted gate, one a police van, the other a white Ford Focus. Both had flashing blue lights and sirens blaring, mimicking an urgent police escort. To the guards at the gate, the scene looked official. The van carried what looked like uniformed officers. The Ford followed close behind, its windows tinted, its movements steady. There was no reason to suspect anything unusual until the men inside stepped out. Suddenly, the air changed. 15 men climbed out, 5 in full police uniform, the rest dressed in plain dark clothes. All of them were holding AK-47 rifles. They didn't shout, didn't panic, didn't waste time. The guards froze in place as the fake officers walked toward them with purpose. The men in the Ford Focus approached with fake airport ID badges. One guard asked to scan them. Instead of an answer, a rifle was raised. In seconds, the guards were ordered to the ground, disarmed, and surrounded. Not a single bullet was fired. With the security staff neutralized, the robbers moved quickly. They had practiced this many times before. Some stayed at the gate to block access from inside or outside the airport. Others advanced toward Gate 1, where the cash shipment had just arrived. Every step had been planned down to the second. Gate 1 wasn't just another exit. It was the airport's high-value drop zone. It handled cargo that required the most security: gold, diamonds, and cash. That night, a South African Airways plane had landed from London with bags of foreign currency. Those bags were being transferred from the aircraft to a secure vault nearby. But the robbers got there first. The gang moved in with precision. There was no searching or guessing. They went straight to the right containers. It was clear someone inside had told them exactly what to look for. They dragged heavy money bags, some weighing over 2,200 pounds, toward the waiting vehicles. No one was harmed, and no alarms were raised. This wasn't a smash and grab. It was a job carried out with military-level control. The men ignored other cargo and valuables. They didn't try to take anything else. Their mission was focused, timed, and exact. By now, airport workers who might have seen movement were too afraid to speak. Others didn't realize anything was happening at all. That was the power of their disguise. Dressed as police, no one questioned them. Anyone who did was quickly silenced with a look or a gun. Every part of the airport had been studied and exploited. The money was loaded fast. Inside the bags was more than 100 million rand in cash, nearly $20 million at the time. Most of it was in US dollars, packed and sealed in airline containers. The operation was so clean, it left no trace behind. Even the cameras missed most of it. At 7:45 p.m., just 25 minutes after they had arrived, the two vehicles rolled out. They left through the same access point they entered, calm and unnoticed. No police backup had been called. No pursuit followed them. It was over before anyone outside the gate even knew what had happened. When security finally responded, it was too late. The robbers had vanished into the night with one of the largest cash hauls in South African history. Investigators would later call the job surgical in its precision. There were no fingerprints, no faces, and no witnesses willing to talk. It was like they had disappeared. The robbery showed just how broken airport security had become. These weren't just criminals, they were professionals who knew everything about their target. From the route of the plane to the timing of the guards, nothing had been left to chance. And that level of knowledge could only come from the inside. This wasn't a robbery, it was an operation. By the next morning, chaos had fully taken over OR Tambo International Airport. What had started as a quiet night shift turned into a crime scene that shook the entire nation. Police scrambled to understand how such a clean and fast operation had taken place under their noses. Surveillance footage was reviewed over and over, revealing just how calm and methodical the robbers had been. The realization hit hard. This wasn't just a lucky heist. It was carefully planned by people who knew every weakness in the system. The South African Police Service didn't waste time. Within hours, the elite Hawks unit was activated, and border controls were placed on high alert. That same day, 2 Zimbabwean nationals were stopped at the Beitbridge border trying to flee the country. Hidden in their car were AK-47 rifles, ammunition, and 3 million rands in cash. It was the first real break in the case, and the signs were clear. Someone inside had helped them know exactly what to take and where to run. As investigators dug deeper, suspicions inside the airport started to grow. Within 72 hours of the robbery, 3 senior AXA managers were arrested. All 3 had been working the night of the heist, had unrestricted access to key areas, and understood flight schedules down to the minute. The evidence pointed to them as guides, directing the robbers straight to the valuable cargo. Their aviation licenses were quickly revoked, and AXA launched an urgent internal investigation to limit the damage. But the story of insider betrayal went back even further than most people knew. Paul O'Sullivan